Welcome. Now the topic of this video is about going with the flow. It is said that water contains memory. I think it was either the previous video or the one before, I talked about how water will find its way through if there's the slightest little gap. It will go downwards. It will leak through if it's something above your head, and you'll get a drip start appearing from the ceiling, as it were, because the water is trying to find its way downwards. It is trying to return to source, you could say. So going with the flow, observation of what is shown in nature, in the external, because it's not about cutting out the external world. It is just watching, becoming a watcher, observing what is happening. In terms of spirituality, it's talked about going deep within inside oneself. So that's like the water flow, going into the abyss, going into those deepest, darkest depths of self, facing those things we don't like about ourselves, facing those things where we feel triggered. Because if something is said that you don't like, it has struck a chord within you. The vocalization is a disturbance into the ether. It's a ripple effect. You've heard it. You've imported it. It's struck a chord. It's resonated within you, maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way. Preferably a bad way. Because that should therefore be a little prompt to, I've got this feeling that I don't like. I need to address that feeling. I need to correct it. I need to understand, why have I got that feeling inside myself that I don't like. I need to sit with that and see what comes out. Going with the flow, with the water holds memory. Whatever was said that has triggered you, that has struck a chord in a negative way, it is having an impact on, shall we say, the cellular memory, the soul memory of previous incarnations, of previous life experiences, that whether you consciously know it or not, that's why you've got that feeling. It is for you to find something inside yourself for you to then confront and address. It would be like getting another person and forcing them to watch something unpleasant, like a horror film that they don't want to watch. But it's not upon another, it's not imposing upon another's free will and trying to force them to do something. It is all inside oneself. It's not even a requirement of forcing. It is a requirement of acknowledgement of, I don't like this feeling inside myself, but I'm going to address that feeling. It's like you would write something. Now you're enacting a rite. You are addressing. So it's like you're writing a letter or sending a letter to something inside yourself. You're facing yourself because you're acknowledging that unpleasant feeling, but you're not trying to escape from it. You're now facing it, and you're getting to the root of what is triggering something in you, so it no longer does trigger something in you in a negative way. There is a reason why, and it is a reason is a reason why there are all media scripts, why there are rumours of wars, why there are stories of famine, poverty, disease, and so on. Because it's an invitation, it's an adversary, it's an advert. It is trying to get you to take that script and import it, which is not going to be very conducive. If you already have fear and doubt, it's going to feed that, because we're talking about a low vibrational energy. But by going with the flow, by grounding, by releasing all this to Mother Earth, Mother knows best. Mother raises the child, the raising, the rising. But of course, it's actually going down. It requires going down within inside oneself to address these things, to be able to rise above them. So it could just be words. You don't like the words, so therefore do words have power in them? If you're getting a feeling because somebody has said something to you, you've imported those words and you've taken it to heart. But if you can build up that armor of protection, the armor is l'amour, which is love. Is it not said that love is the strongest force? So the armor that you wear, that you want to be secure in the knowledge that that armor is going to protect you from everything and anything. And I will go as far as saying that what you saw in the Matrix film with the character Neo, where the bullets just stopped and were suspended, it's a reference to stopping time. It is referring to something in the external cannot penetrate your aura. If you can generate sufficient energy coming from the heart, from love, I'm going to go as far as to say I guarantee you that those bullets will not affect you, will not even penetrate your aura. If you have got to that degree where the intensity of that feeling is that strong, you can overcome everything. Can we point to something, just one thing in this external reality where there is any kind of proof of that? What about people who walk barefoot over hot coals? There is a song by Dire Straits called Love Over Gold. It takes love over gold, true wealth versus material worth. It takes mind over matter, referring to the thinking processes. What matters to you becomes material. It takes love over gold, it takes mind over matter to do what you do, and you must. That's the lines from the song Love Over Gold by Dire Straits. That is the place to be, in dire straits. There is no coincidences to the band's name, to the lyrics in the song. The words have power, it has vibration with sound, with the music as well. They're all there to strike chords. This year, for example, is very significant. Now I wish you to think of the chakra system A to G. It consists of 7 chakras. Music has A to G, and then it goes back to A again. You can see that on a piano keyboard. It's 7 notes. There's also 5 black notes as well on a piano keyboard. So you've got the 7/5 split there. Which effectively is the period in a year of the more agreeable weather is generally more 7 months, and 5 months are more sort of wintry and colder, and more people seem to dislike those than the more warmer, conducive months of the year, which is roughly about 7 to 5 split. I can go off so many tangents on 7 and 5 and how it makes 12 as well. But coming back to the point of this is the year 2024. Let's go back 200 years. Bruckner was born in 1824, the composer Anton Bruckner. His last symphony was Symphony Number 9 in D minor. Now think of the key of D, in major or minor, doesn't matter, running from A to B with the chakra system in either direction. D is always going to represent the heart. D minor, because we're playing small in this reality. Bruckner was very aware of what that replicated. That is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, also happens to be in the key of D minor, known as the choral symphony. It has a poem setting in the final movement of Friedrich Schiller. Make of that what you want with the word Schill. It's called the Ode to Joy. 200 years ago, two symphonies, both have the number 9, both in D minor. Make of that what you will. But from my perspective, the 9 is showing a completion. The D minor is referencing us to coming from the heart. The Ode to Joy. What is the world debt? What is it that is owed? What is it that you owe to yourself? I would suggest that is to find out who you truly are, and it is not my name is John or Peter or Paul or whatever. The core essence, the true you that is deeper within than even that, not the external attachment label of a name. Something behind all of this, which is why it comes back to you are God in a physical form, an expression that is playing a part, that is playing a particular character in a particular timeline, in a particular setting. Right, what are we up to? 12 minutes. So yes, 2024, I have described it as year 0. Because of part of that, in the internal sense, it is rising from the ashes. It is finding that internal phoenix, is another way of saying finding the Christ consciousness. I could call it Kundalini rising as well. If you can see things from multiple angles. So I am going to ask, because I am asking, because I am as king, for you to have faith in what I'm imparting here. Faith has I right in the middle of it. There has to be an element. That element has to be trust, which has you right in the middle of it. But don't take anything away of it. Don't knock the tea off, otherwise it'll end up as rust, which is decay, obviously. Wordplay, yes, but every letter is a character that has a symbolic meaning to it. It is another way of interpreting, of being able to see what is being presented. It doesn't mean that you're stupid if you can't do it. You have a different skill set. You have something else to bring to the table. Can one man change the world? Well, how could one man go through all the multitude of experiences? You're only going to get a cross-section of a certain number of experiences, which hopefully will be relatable to then impart from your own experience, which is your testimony, that others can then relate to, but they will have had an individual path. So when things are said some ways, others won't get it. But are they all meant to anyway? But it is about refining oneself as best as possible to say it in as many ways that are relatable, so you can have that aha moment. If you have had that sensation, that aha, Now I see. That is like a flash. You could think of the pineal gland being like one of those fluorescent light tubes. It requires a starter motor that is adjusted so when you switch the light on, the light comes on. So you, rather than having that delay and pauses and flickering, that effectively is what those flashes, those lightning bolts, depictions with Thor, who's the son of Odin, the father and the son again. The lightning bolt, the flash, is the pineal gland starting to switch on, but the starter motor needs slightly adjusting so that fluorescent light can now be on all the time. That is an activated pineal gland. That is using an everyday material thing I can point to cross-compare, to give you an analogy. But if you have had that sensation of that aha moment, when something clicks into place in the mind, that is an indication of the dreamer that is asleep in the skull, which is God, that was carried out into Egypt, the external world, and sealed in a tomb, which is the skull, which is your Golgotha, which is your Calvary, which is your cranium. It is being sparked. It is starting to switch on. At the Samadhi sound healing event, I saw the crowns of varying sizes, of varying intensities. So if we put a crude analogy, I'm not looking at a woman and looking at the chest. I'm looking either straight into the eyes, or I'm looking slightly above the head and I'm looking at the crown. I'm looking at a higher level. I'm no longer looking with a lustful, lower conscious aspect. I can see that it's there, and there are certain forms that I would find more appealing, yes. Colours of eyes, colours of hairs, body shape, and so on, in a female form. But my focus is now, I want to feed on the light, that eternal light that's coming out their eyes, but I'm also observing the crown. In a circular floor where people are dancing and moving in circles, you are moving in royal circles because you are seeing the other heads of state. Thank you, Anthony, for this. Things come to a head is a saying. Capstone. Crown. Hopefully this will resonate with a lot more of you in saying it this way. But maybe we'll have to attempt doing a live if I can get a strong enough signal. Which interestingly, in this external world, the Wi-Fi signal has been getting far better than it was a year ago. The signal is getting stronger. If the external world is a reflection, is that therefore not a sign that I can see in the reflection? So perhaps we'll do a live video and just put it out there of, ask a question. What is the question you have for me? I don't know how many I'll be able to do. Obviously, it will depend on the timing of when I go live. We'll try some different times of the day. Initially, I feel I need to look to, for practicality point of view, mid-afternoon to maybe between 3 and 5 in the afternoon, we'll say, on the British summertime, or the best soul time. But I appreciate there's an 8 or 12 hour difference with some parts of the world. It's going to be in the middle of the night for some. But we'll restage the play at a different time and tailor it, say, to mountain time or East Coast time in the United States. I can think of off the top of my head. Right, that's 20 minutes. That's a pretty good place to round things up here. So once again, unconditional love to you all until the next video.